YouTube. I wanted to make a video today talking about my journey with prosthetic hand. I've only had one hand looked at, and it was my left arm. The video you're about to see was filmed in 2020, so that's why we're all wearing masks. Do you feel anything in those notes?
Mm-hmm.
And you have 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I got 5. The ring's pretty little. It tried to stay away. There you go.
So it looks like it's a partial.
Looks like what?
A partial.
Well, I got a wrist.
Okay, so you do have a wrist.
Yeah.
Okay. So and you don't use it to decline, right?
Yeah.
No,
I don't use a prosthetic. No. I wrap my arm and I get the purchase right there. I want to wrap up here first.
Okay, that's fine.
Can you flex your elbow a little bit? I want you kind of like right there. I don't want you, because when you flex a lot, this tends to kind of disappear a little bit, like this lever arm. So kind of like an in-between from being straight to fully flexed. So kind of flex a little bit.
I did.
A little bit more. Kind of like.
That's like almost all flexing.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that whole thing possible here?
Yep.
It's so cool watching somebody else with just an elbow. Well, it's not technically elbow, but you know, because I look at videos of myself doing things and I'm like, that looks weird. But it looks weird because I've never had anyone else
to watch. And you and I do things different from one another too. Like we have our own techniques. That
well, right, but I'm saying like just the fact that you have whatever you want to call it. You know, I'd be like, yeah, that doesn't look as weird as I thought it was. Because when I look at videos, you know, I just think, that doesn't look right. But there's no right way to do something.
Anyway,
yeah.
Yeah.
It's called your cubital fold.
Cubital fold.
Cubital fold. It's like creases in the front of our elbow.
is that a special kind of plaster, or is it just the normal run-of-the-mill plaster?
It's normal plaster Paris for casting.
Okay.
So yeah, it's got fabric interwoven in it. We've got another kind of plaster that we have downtown. We didn't bring it up with us, and it has elastic fibers in it, so you can get a little bit more stretch as you pull.
Okay.
So that's the 2 types that we use.
Let's do a second.
A second.
One, yes.
Yeah.
Heavy.
Do you own like TheraBands, like workout style bands?
I do.
Good.
But I can't seem to, when I work out, what happens is it actually doesn't work out what you think it work out. It doesn't work out here or here. What ends up happening is when I go like this, it works out back here. I know that this is your secondary muscle, so obviously you're still working that out. I know the last part ended abruptly. I didn't film the entire experience. When I did film it, I wasn't expecting myself to upload it years later. So that's my bad. The prosthetic that was used, it only had 2 capabilities, opening and closing. I had to use these muscles to be able to move the prosthetic. The next part of this clip shows me actually wearing the prosthetic hand and testing it out.
We already turned on both spots.
It's not.
Well, so remember we've got our inside muscle and our outside muscle.
Can you rest this on your leg? Can you kind of let the weight go away for a second? Okay.
And I don't want you to think of it as like bending or flexing your elbow. We're just trying, we just want those little muscles on the inside to twitch, to open and close. Okay, now can you give me a really slow open? Just barely use that muscle, nice and slow. Good. And a really slow close. Yep, just kind of slowly engage that muscle. Good. That'll be what we'll work on training for. And a nice slow open. Good. And a nice slow close.
Okay, so I've got you on Bluetooth here. So.
I'm doing that.
So these. So go ahead. Let's do a close. Go ahead and close. So B is your close signal. So see the little red things that come up on the graph?
Yeah.
Those are the electrode. Those are the muscle signals that you're giving the electrode. That's the EMG signal. The little orange is called a threshold, and I can adjust that. So what that threshold does is, if you go to close, so that's B, nothing will happen until you cross that threshold. So it's kind of a way to filter out noise and you doing maybe inadvertent movements.
Good. Give us a close.
Yeah, nice and slow.
Relax.
Completely relax.
See that now your open kind of twitches a little bit. See that?
I am relaxed though. That's great.
Okay. You can dial. Open. So what we'll do is, what I like to do before I touch here, so the input gains, that's the sensitivity of the electrodes. I can boost that on here.
Mm-hmm.
This is kind of like a fine tuning boost. What I like to do first is go to the actual electrodes in here, and I can turn them down on a dial from 1
okay.
to 7.
Okay.
So I just want to see what they are. Here, see that little hole? That's where they put that hole there. So I take a little wrench in there and turn them down just a little bit.
Okay.
So I like to do it there first and then fine tune over here.
Okay.
What are they at? I'm not even sure what we put them at. Should be maybe around 5.
Looks like 5, 6.
5 or 6.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's so heavy.
And that one's at like 4 or 5. You get to strengthen up that bicep.
I know. I'm excited about that, but it's so heavy.
And this is something we may have to play with. Is
Oh, really?
I might have to, well, not the weight. Weight is what it is. We might have to maybe bring these ridge and trim lines up a little bit to help support you
Yes.
here.
I think that's gonna be best because a lot of the weight is just right here. None of it is up here at all, which is just a little concerning because of so it's pressing right up here.
On the
That's-
end of your arm.
Well, a very specific spot on my arm. So it just feels like just right there is feeling a lot of the pressure, and then no one else is feeling a lot of it. But this right here is still kind of tight, but it still feels like it's cutting off a little bit. But I think that's just because I'm already used to it, right? And so, the more I play with it, the more I will get used to it, right? That's how it's probably.
Well, yeah. Anytime the more that you wear it, more time you spend in it, the more you're used to it, of course.
And then how do I twist it? The way you twist yours? Like,
As this is more stable, we'll be able to go through.
Yeah, right now things take, we can
But
twist
it's
it.
here, and we'll just turn side to side, and this unit here will turn. And then you also have a button here
oh, okay.
that you can flex or extend.
Oh, okay.
So it
So
depends.
that's one thing I had to make a decision on if you wanted, that sacrifice of adding a little bit of weight to the prosthetic. See how mine doesn't have that unit? So my hook is shorter overall because my arm's really long, so I couldn't afford to put it in here.
What length is?
You have this unit here where you can hit that
Oh.
button and you can flex yours in. It really helps when things are right in front of you.
And that'll be something that we can train on bumping. Once you don't have all this in the way, you'll be able to bump. And then
Yeah, so you just push that in. There you go. Perfect. And you can almost let gravity, when you hold that button in, gravity will actually pull it down.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah. So
So it'll lock in different positions around. Now to rotate it, yeah, again, it's just a twist.
I will say that I'm not all the way in.
Okay.
Even though it feels like I'm all the way in, I can feel like you can see
gapping when you pick it
yeah.
up.
Do you see the gap?
Let's do this. See first if we can build some of that out. So head lift up.
First prosthetic arm didn't work out because of my hands. This is a close-up of my hand. And as you can see, it's just to the elbow. When you're doing a prosthetic hand, the longer the forearm that you have, the better of a connection that you're gonna get with the prosthetic arm. The problem with mine was when it went on, it squeezed the entire muscle of here, and that made it very difficult for me to move. Having something that was just attached by suctioning on this part, I noticed that, for example, my little arm that I have, the little muscles I have, lifting the arm, it felt really heavy. It was only about 3 pounds. My left arm that never gets any use in terms of like lifting like this, a flexing thing, that's very different. Growing up, not having a prosthetic hands, you kind of learn to adapt and you learn how to do a lot of things. Despite not having hands, I still did everything that I wanted to do. I learned how to crochet. I learned how to fix electronics. I can fix my own car. I can drive my own car. I've been able to do a lot of things and nothing's really stopped me. In future videos, I want to show some of my capabilities and how not having hands didn't stop me. The reason why I want prosthetic hands now so badly is because I injured myself trying to open a can of sardines. It's actually affected my nerve. The tip of my thumb is now numb. So I don't want to continue to injure myself because I just don't have hands. I've never complained about it, though, because there's no point in trying to complain about something that you can't change, right? What makes things harder is it takes me 10 times longer to do a single task than it does for 99% of most people, right? And I just want my life to be just a little bit easier, right? Where do we go from here? So from here, I talked to the guy that's in the video, his name's Daniel. I talked to him and we're actually going to talk on Tuesday about what can be done. He has more connections just because he's part of that prosthetic world. For me, just because the first one didn't work, I definitely want to have something that helps, right? Because prosthetics are tools. They're supposed to make your life easier, right? I'm hoping that by having more conversations, we can have a different kind of outlook in prosthetics. So I'm really excited about that. Thank you for watching my video. Hopefully I'll have another video coming soon, and I hope you have a good day.